The red warning light flashed across Admiral James Parker's desk, casting an ominous glow throughout his office aboard the Lunar Command Center. The emergency transmission from Neptune Outpost 7 had interrupted his morning coffee, and now the bitter liquid sat cold and forgotten. "Display message," he ordered, his voice steady despite the growing unease in his chest. The holographic screen materialized before him, showing the worried face of Commander Robert Wells, the outpost's commanding officer. "Admiral, we're picking up something massive emerging from, well, sir, I don't know what it is. The space around it seems to be bending." Wells paused, looking over his shoulder as alarms blared in the background. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Parker leaned forward, his weathered face illuminated by the screen's blue glow. 20 years of military service hadn't prepared him for this moment. "Show me," he commanded. The camera view shifted, revealing the darkness of space beyond Neptune's blue atmosphere. At first, Parker saw nothing unusual, just the familiar sight of stars against the void. Then he noticed it. A distortion, like heat waves rising from hot pavement, but in space. As he watched, the distortion grew larger. "Energy readings are off the charts, sir," Wells reported, his voice trembling slightly. "Whatever it is, it's bigger than anything humanity has ever built. Bigger than..." The commander's words cut off as something emerged from the rippling space. Parker's breath caught in his throat. The vessel that appeared was enormous, easily the size of a small city. Its surface gleamed with a metallic sheen that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light, covered in geometric patterns that pulsed with an inner glow. This was no human ship. This was something else entirely. "Initiating first contact protocols," Wells announced, his training taking over despite the fear evident in his voice. "Broadcasting standard greeting package on all frequencies." Parker watched as the outpost's communication arrays directed their signals toward the alien vessel. Seconds stretched into minutes as they waited for a response. The massive ship hung motionless in space, its presence alone a testament to technology far beyond human understanding. "Sir," a new voice called out, belonging to the outpost's sensor officer. "We're detecting energy buildups across the vessel's surface." "There." The transmission suddenly filled with static as a blast of brilliant green energy erupted from the alien ship. Parker watched in horror as the beam cut through the outpost's shields like they weren't even there. "Get me everything," Parker shouted. "All sensor data, all scans, everything." Commander Wells' face appeared one last time, remarkably calm despite the chaos around him. "Initiating data burst transmission." "Sir, whatever happens, don't let Earth..." The transmission ended in a flash of light as Neptune Outpost 7, humanity's furthest permanent settlement, disappeared in a cloud of superheated plasma and debris. Parker sat in stunned silence for several moments, his mind racing to process what he had just witnessed. Then his training kicked in. "Computer, send emergency alerts to all Earth Defense Council members. Authorization Parker Alpha 70. Attach all data from Neptune Outpost 7's final transmission." As the computer confirmed his commands, Parker walked to the window overlooking the lunar surface. Earth hung in the black sky above, beautiful and vulnerable. Humanity had just made first contact with an alien civilization, and their response had been immediate, decisive violence. "Computer," he spoke again, his voice grim. "Calculate the alien vessel's possible trajectories based on its last known position. How long until it could reach Earth?" The answer came back almost immediately. "At observed speeds, estimated arrival time to Earth, 72 hours. Parker nodded slowly, his jaw set with determination. 3 days. They had 3 days to prepare for an enemy that could cross interstellar space and destroy their most advanced outpost without effort. 3 days to find a way to defend Earth against technology they barely understood. Well, he muttered to himself, humanity's always worked best under pressure. He turned back to his desk, already plotting humanity's next move. The aliens had made their intentions clear. Now it was time for Earth to respond. The Earth Defense Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy. 12 of the world's most powerful leaders sat around the circular table, their faces lit by the holographic display, showing the destruction of Neptune Outpost 7. The recording played for the third time, ending with Commander Wells' final moments. Admiral Parker stood at the center of the room, his uniform crisp despite having been awake for 24 straight hours. Ladies and gentlemen, we have confirmed that the alien vessel has entered the outer solar system. Our conventional weapons will not be enough. The Chinese representative leaned forward. What exactly are you suggesting, Admiral? We've already launched every available warship. Before Parker could respond, the chamber doors burst open. A tall man with messy gray hair and a wrinkled lab coat rushed in, carrying a thick folder of papers. Security moved to stop him, but Parker raised his hand. Dr. Marcus Reed, Parker announced. I called him here. He might have our only chance. Dr. Reed dropped his papers on the table, not bothering with formalities. Project Prometheus, he said, pulling up a new hologram. We've been developing it in secret for the past 5 years. The image showed a massive ship, unlike anything Earth had built before. Its design was sleek but practical, with a distinctive arrow-shaped front section and twin reactor cores visible at the rear. A new warship, the Russian representative asked, unimpressed. We have thousands of those. Reed shook his head. Not like this one. Project Prometheus combines our latest breakthroughs in fusion power with quantum mechanics. The main weapon doesn't just destroy targets. It erases them from existence. The room fell silent. Reed continued, his hands moving excitedly as he explained. We've found a way to create a cascading quantum effect. It breaks down the atomic bonds of anything it touches, converting matter directly into energy. One shot could destroy a ship the size of the alien vessel. And you're certain this will work? The American representative asked. Reed's excitement faded slightly. Theoretically, we haven't built it yet. The power requirements are enormous. And the risks. He paused. If something goes wrong, we could lose the whole ship and crew. Parker stepped forward. We don't have a choice. The alien ship will reach Earth in less than 2 days. Our current weapons barely scratched their shields. The Indian representative studied the hologram carefully. How quickly can it be built? We have a prototype frame at the lunar facility, Reed replied. With unlimited resources and round-the-clock work, maybe 36 hours. But we'll need the best engineers from every nation. The council members exchanged looks. Decades of international rivalry and secrecy stood in the way of such cooperation. But the image of Neptune Outpost 7's destruction played in everyone's minds. The council president stood up, all in favor of granting emergency approval and resources to Project Prometheus. 12 hands raised without hesitation. Dr. Reed, the president said, you have whatever you need. Admiral Parker, coordinate with all space forces to buy us time. Dismissed. As the council members rushed out to make preparations, Reed gathered his papers. His hands were shaking slightly. Parker approached him. Level with me, Marcus. Can we really build this in time? Reed looked up, his eyes showing both fear and determination. The science is sound, James, but we're about to build the most powerful weapon humanity has ever created, and we're doing it in a rush. He managed a weak smile. At least if we fail, we won't be around to regret it. Parker nodded grimly. I'll have the best crews up there in 2 hours. Whatever you need, just ask. As they left the chamber, emergency alerts were already spreading across the globe. In shipyards and factories worldwide, production switched to military supplies. Space stations converted to defensive positions. And on the moon, crews began working frantically on humanity's last hope. High above, invisible to human eyes, the alien ship continued its steady approach toward Earth, unaware that its actions had united humanity like never before in history. Red emergency lights flashed across the lunar facility as Dr. Reed stared at the smoking ruins of the first Prometheus prototype test. Through the reinforced observation window, he could see medical teams rushing to help the injured scientists. 5 good people were dead, and their best hope of stopping the aliens lay in pieces. What went wrong? Admiral Parker asked, his voice tight with concern. He had arrived just hours ago to check on their progress. Reed ran his hands through his gray hair, now streaked with ash. The power coupling failed. The quantum cascade effect backfired into the reactor. He pointed to the twisted metal that used to be their test chamber. We're missing something fundamental about the energy flow. A young engineer burst into the room, holding a tablet. Sir, 3 more alien ships just appeared near Mars. Parker grabbed the tablet, watching as the massive vessels emerged from their strange distortion fields. They're not even trying to hide anymore. Earth's fleet is engaged near Jupiter, but they're taking heavy losses. How long? Reed asked. At their current speed, 36 hours until they reach Earth. Parker handed back the tablet. Marcus, we need that weapon. Reed turned back to his equations displayed on the wall screens. Numbers and formulas floated in the air, thanks to the holographic projectors. Something about them bothered him, but he couldn't figure out what. Dr. Reed. Another scientist rushed in, this one holding an old leather-bound book. You need to see this. Reed recognized Tom, one of the younger researchers who specialized in theoretical physics. We're kind of busy with a crisis here, Tom. That's just it, sir. I think I know why the prototype failed. Tom opened the book, revealing pages of ancient Greek mathematics. I was reading about Pythagoras and his work on harmonics. The Greeks understood something about natural energy flow that we've been ignoring. Reed stared at the yellowed pages, his tired mind slowly making connections. The golden ratio. It's not just about physical shapes. The energy cascade needs to follow natural patterns. He grabbed a marker and rushed to the nearest clear wall, starting to draw. Parker watched as Reed filled the wall with new calculations, occasionally consulting the old book. Other scientists gathered around, adding their own notes and suggestions. The Admiral had seen enough battles to recognize a turning point when he saw one. Hours passed in a blur of equations and rushed modifications. The second prototype took shape in the main construction bay, its design now incorporating subtle curves and proportions that somehow looked more natural than the original. Energy flow is stable, called out the control room operator. Quantum field is forming, holding at 15%, 30%. Reed held his breath. This was where the last test had failed. 50%. 70%. Field is stable at maximum power. The chamber erupted in cheers. Reed slumped in his chair, exhaustion finally catching up with him. We did it. Now we just have to build the real thing in less than a day. Parker's communicator beeped with an urgent message. His face darkened as he read it. Make that 18 hours. The aliens just destroyed our outer defense fleet. They're accelerating toward Earth. Reed stood up, new determination replacing his fatigue. Get me every welder, engineer, and technician you can find. We'll build this ship if we have to hold it together with duct tape and prayers. As if to emphasize the urgency, the facility's windows lit up with a bright flash. Everyone rushed to look. Far above, visible even from the moon's surface, 2 human destroyers engaged an alien vessel near Mars. The battle was brief and one-sided. When it ended, only the alien ship remained. Back to work. Reed shouted, already heading toward the construction bay. Everything we've got goes into this ship. Humanity just ran out of other options. Behind him, the ancient book of Greek mathematics lay open on the desk, its aged pages showing the simple, elegant patterns that might just save Earth. Sometimes, Reed thought, the oldest knowledge proves to be the most valuable. In the distance, More flashes lit up the space around Mars as humanity fought its desperate delaying action against the advancing alien fleet. Mars burned. Through the lunar facility's main viewport, Dr. Reed watched as flashes of green light danced across the red planet's surface. The alien forces had established their base there just hours ago, using some kind of massive energy collection devices. They're harvesting solar energy, Reed muttered, studying the sensor readings. But why? Their ships already have enough power to cross between stars. Admiral Parker stood beside him, his uniform wrinkled from another sleepless night. The better question is, why are they in such a hurry? He pointed to the latest tactical display. They've set up 12 collectors in the last hour alone. A loud crash from the construction bay drew their attention. The prototype of humanity's first star destroyer, now officially named ESD-01 Prometheus, hung in its cradle. Welders worked frantically on its hull, while crews rushed to install the quantum cascade weapon. Time? Parker asked. Reed checked his tablet. 15 hours until main systems are online. The hull is almost complete, but we're having trouble with An alarm cut through the facility. Red warning lights began flashing as every screen switched to an emergency broadcast. The main display showed a live feed from Earth's remaining orbital defense platforms. The alien flagship had appeared. It dwarfed the other alien vessels, its hull stretching at least 10 kilometers from end to end. Unlike the sleek designs of the other ships, this one bristled with weapons and strange, pulsing structures. Energy readings are massive, one of the scientists reported, her voice shaking. That thing could probably crack Earth's crust with a single shot. Parker grabbed his communicator. This is Admiral Parker. All Earth Defense Forces, fall back to secondary positions. Do not, I repeat, do not engage the flagship directly. Reed was already running toward the construction bay, shouting orders. I want every engineer we have working on the weapon systems. Forget about safety protocols. We need this ship flying in 10 hours. 10 hours. Parker caught up with him. You said 15 was the minimum. That was before that monster showed up. Reed pointed at a screen showing the alien flagship. Look at their energy collection rate on Mars. At this speed, they'll have enough power to attack Earth in. He did some quick calculations. Just under 12 hours. Understanding dawned on Parker's face. They're powering up for something big. Reed nodded grimly. Either they're planning to destroy Earth completely, or... He paused, his scientific curiosity breaking through even in this crisis. They need that much power for something else. Something we don't understand yet. Another alarm sounded. One of the alien vessels had broken formation and was heading toward the moon. They must have detected our power signatures, Parker said, already issuing evacuation orders to non-essential personnel. We've got incoming. The lunar facility shook as its defensive shields activated. Above them, the incomplete form of the Prometheus cast long shadows in the emergency lighting. Reed looked at the ship, then at his team of exhausted engineers and scientists. They had worked non-stop for nearly 2 days, pushing themselves beyond normal human limits. Now they needed to do even more. Listen up, he shouted, his voice carrying across the construction bay. Everything we've built, everything we've learned, it all comes down to the next 10 hours. I know we're tired. I know we're scared. But right now, we're the only hope Earth has. The facility shook again as the first alien shots hit the outer shields. Admiral, Reed turned to Parker. I need you to buy us just a few more hours. Whatever it takes. Parker nodded, already heading toward the command center. You'll have your time, Marcus. Just make sure that ship can fly. As the Admiral left, Reed took one last look at the tactical display. The alien flagship hung over Mars like a dark star, its energy collectors draining power from the sun itself. Whatever the aliens were planning, Earth had only hours left to prepare. Back to work, Reed ordered, rolling up his sleeves. We got a planet to save. Around him, humanity's last hope took shape, piece by piece, in a desperate race against time. Captain Anna Miller had seen many ships in her 15 years of service, but nothing like the Prometheus. Standing in the lunar facility's launch bay, she stared up at humanity's newest weapon. Its hull gleamed under the emergency lights, still hot from rushed welding jobs. "She's not pretty," Dr. Reed said, walking up beside her, "but she's the best we could do in 2 days." "Will she fly?" Miller asked, noting the unfinished panels and exposed wiring along the ship's sides. "She'll have to." Reed handed her a tablet. "You're the best pilot we have, Captain. The ship's yours." The facility shook again as another alien shot hit the weakening shields. Through the launch bay windows, they could see flashes of combat. Earth's remaining forces were engaging the alien scout ship, buying them precious minutes. "How long until we can launch?" Miller asked, already reviewing the ship's systems. 20 minutes for final power-up." Reed checked his own readings. "The quantum cascade weapon is installed, but we haven't had time to test it properly." Miller nodded, hiding her concern. "And if it fails?" "Then we all die anyway." Reed managed a tired smile. "At least we'll go out trying." The launch bay erupted in activity as the final preparations began. Miller's hand-picked crew, just 30 people for a ship designed for hundreds, rushed to their stations. Every one of them volunteered, knowing this might be a one-way mission. "Launch control, this is Captain Miller." Beginning power-up sequence. The Prometheus hummed to life around them. Warning lights flashed across control panels as systems activated for the first time. In engineering, crews scrambled to handle dozens of minor emergencies. "Captain," an engineer's voice crackled over the comm. "We've got power fluctuations in the main drive." Miller looked at Reed, who was already running toward engineering. "Keep the sequence going," he shouted back. "I'll fix it on the way." The facility rocked with its strongest hit yet. Part of the ceiling collapsed near the back of the launch bay. "Shield failure in sectors 3 through 7. The facility's AI announced calmly. "Breach imminent." "Launch control, time to shield failure," Miller demanded. 4 minutes, Captain." Miller made her decision. "All crew, battle stations. We're launching now." "The drive isn't stable," Reed protested over the comm. "No choice, Doctor. We're out of time." Miller strapped into the captain's chair. "Either we launch now, or we die here." Emergency sirens wailed as the launch bay doors began opening. Above them, they could see the alien scout ship approaching through gaps in the failing shields. "All hands, brace for emergency launch," Miller announced. "Dr. Reed, get to the bridge if you can. Everyone else, hold on to something." The Prometheus's engines roared to life, sending vibrations through the entire ship. Warning lights flashed on almost every console as systems were forced to activate before they were ready. "Main drive holding at 60%, engineering reported. It's not pretty, but it'll fly." "Launch," Miller ordered. The Prometheus lifted off just as the facility's shields failed completely. The alien scout ship's weapons carved into the launch bay behind them, turning it to molten metal. "Tactical, give me a damage report," Miller commanded, fighting the controls as the ship shuddered around them. "Hull integrity at 85%. All weapons systems online, but the quantum cascade weapon is showing multiple errors." Dr. Reed finally arrived on the bridge, his clothes covered in engine grease. "The drive stabilized, but we need to test the main weapon before." "Incoming fire," the tactical officer shouted. Miller yanked the controls, and the Prometheus rolled sideways. The alien shot passed by so close they could see its green glow through the bridge windows. "Well," Miller said, her hand steady on the controls, "looks like we're going to test everything in combat. Doctor, get that weapon working." Everyone else, battle stations. The Prometheus turned to face the alien scout ship, humanity's newest weapon against its most dangerous threat. Behind them, Earth shone blue and green in the darkness of space, a reminder of everything they were fighting to protect. Let's show them what humanity can build in 2 days, Miller said, targeting the alien vessel. All weapons, fire when ready. The alien scout ship exploded in a brilliant flash of green and white as the Prometheus's conventional weapons found their mark. On the bridge, Captain Miller allowed herself a brief smile before turning to more pressing matters. Status of the quantum cascade weapon, she asked, watching as 5 more alien ships approached from Mars. Dr. Reed's fingers flew across his console. Power readings are unstable. The Greek harmonic patterns aren't aligning properly. He looked up at the tactical display. And we got bigger problems. The alien flagship had started moving from its position over Mars, its massive form casting a shadow over the smaller vessels. Behind it, the solar energy collectors pulsed with gathered power. All Earth forces, this is Admiral Parker. The comm system crackled. Converge on these coordinates. We make our stand here. Miller watched as hundreds of Earth's remaining ships moved into formation around the Prometheus. Cruisers, destroyers, and fighters took their positions, ready for humanity's last major battle. They're coming, the tactical officer announced. The alien fleet approached in perfect formation, their ships moving with impossible precision. Green energy beams lashed out, cutting through Earth's front line of defenders. Evasive maneuvers, Miller ordered. Get us closer to their flagship. The quantum cascade weapon needs a clear shot. The Prometheus dove through the chaos of battle, its enhanced shields holding against hits that would have destroyed other ships. Around them, Earth vessels fought desperately, some even ramming the alien ships when their weapons were depleted. Doctor, we need that weapon, Miller shouted as another blast rocked the ship. The power flow is wrong, Reed muttered, still working. Wait. His eyes widened. The alien solar collectors. They're using the same harmonic patterns we discovered. Captain, get us closer to their energy stream. Miller nodded, understanding. Helm, take us right through their power transfer beam. That's suicide, the helmsman protested. Do it. The Prometheus turned sharply, aiming for the bright stream of energy flowing from Mars to the alien flagship. As they approached, the ship's systems began to react. Power levels spiking, engineering reported. The quantum cascade chamber is resonating with their energy frequency. Reed laughed in triumph. That's it. Their power source is completing our weapon's harmonic pattern. Captain, we've got one shot at this. The weapon will work, but the power feedback might tear us apart. More alien shots impacted their shields. Status displays showed red warnings across all systems. Hull breach on Deck 3. Someone shouted. Shield failure imminent. Miller gripped her chair as the ship shuddered. How close do we need to be? Almost there, Reed replied, making final adjustments. 10 seconds. The alien flagship filled their view screen now, its weapons charging for what looked like a final devastating attack on Earth. Green energy gathered at its front, building to impossible levels. 5 seconds. Earth ships exploded around them, their sacrifices buying the Prometheus precious moments. 3. The alien energy beam reached full power. 2. Their shields failed completely. 1. Fire, Miller and Reed shouted together. The quantum cascade weapon activated, drawing power from both their systems and the alien energy stream. A pulse of pure white light erupted from the Prometheus, hitting the alien flagship just as it fired its main weapon. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself appeared to bend around the point of impact. The alien ship's hull began to dissolve, matter converting directly to energy just as Reed had predicted. The effect spread rapidly, consuming the massive vessel from front to back. All ships, clear the area, Miller ordered as their own systems started to overload. The alien flagship disappeared in a flash brighter than the sun, taking several of its support ships with it. The remaining alien vessels scattered, their perfect formation breaking apart in panic. But aboard the Prometheus, no one was celebrating yet. Warning sirens blared as the quantum cascade chamber began to breach. Containment failing. Reed shouted over the noise. The power feedback is too strong. Miller looked at her crew, then at Earth shining in the distance. They had won the battle, but their victory might have cost them everything. All hands, she said calmly into the ship-wide comm. Brace for impact. Light bloomed across space as the Prometheus's quantum cascade chamber threatened to breach. On the bridge, sparks flew from overloading consoles while emergency sirens wailed. Reroute all power to containment, Captain Miller ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos. Engineering, status. Dr. Reed's hands moved frantically across his station. The chamber's going critical. We need to dump the excess energy somewhere. Through the view screen, they watched as the remaining alien ships retreated, jumping away in flashes of distorted space. The victory seemed hollow as their own destruction loomed. Then Miller saw it, one of the alien solar collectors on Mars, still intact and active. Doctor, could we transfer the overflow into their collector? Reed's eyes widened. Yes, the harmonics would match perfectly, but we'd need to get close enough to. Helm, set course for Mars, maximum speed. Miller commanded. Everyone hold on. The Prometheus shot forward, trailing energy like a comet. Warning lights flashed faster as systems began to fail throughout the ship. Hull plating cracked under the strain. 2 minutes to total breach. Engineering reported. We'll make it in 3, the helmsman said grimly. Miller keyed the ship-wide comm. All hands, abandon ship. Get to the escape pods. That's an order. But no one moved from their stations. 90 seconds to breach. Mars grew larger in their view. The alien collector's massive form rose from the red surface, still gathering solar energy with its strange efficiency. Engineering, prepare for emergency power transfer. Reed shouted. Helm, bring us in close. We'll only get one chance. The Prometheus screamed through Mars's thin atmosphere, metal groaning as heat built up around them. The collector filled their view now, its surface pulsing with stored energy. 30 seconds. Miller felt her chair shudder as more systems failed. Steady, steady. 10 seconds. Now, Reed yelled. Miller slammed the controls forward. The Prometheus dove straight toward the collector's main receiver. At the last possible moment, Reed activated the transfer. Pure energy poured from their failing ship into the alien device. The collector's surface brightened, then brightened again, far beyond its designed capacity. As their sensors stabilized, the readings began to make sense. Captain, the science officer called out, I'm detecting a signal from the collector. It's a message. The aliens weren't harvesting energy to attack Earth. They were calling for help. Reed finished, reading the translated data, sending a distress signal across galaxies. They're refugees, running from something even worse than them. The bridge fell silent as this revelation sank in. Their terrible enemy had been desperate survivors all along. Multiple contacts. Tactical announced suddenly. Ships appearing all around Mars. But these vessels were different, sleeker, more advanced than the refugee ships. They moved with purpose, quickly surrounding the remaining alien vessels. Admiral Parker's voice came through their comm. Prometheus, this is Earth Command. We're receiving transmissions from the new arrivals. They're thanking us. Apparently, we just helped save more than one civilization today. Miller looked at her battered but intact ship, then at the alien ships now peacefully orbiting Mars. Send them back a message. Admiral, tell them Earth is ready for peaceful contact. But next time, she smiled. Next time, they should try knocking first. 3 months later, Miller stood with Reed and Parker at the lunar shipyards, watching construction crews work on 10 new vessels. ESD-02 through 11, Parker said proudly, built with a combination of our technology and what we learned from our new allies. The quantum cascade weapon is being adapted as a power transfer system. Reed nodded. The refugees are settling on Mars. helping us understand their solar collection technology. Turns out we have a lot to learn from each other. And the thing they were running from? Miller asked. Still out there, somewhere in dark space, Parker replied. But now Earth isn't alone in preparing for it. Humanity proved itself out there, showed what we can do under pressure. They watched as teams installed the first quantum cascade device on ESD-02. You know what this means, Miller said, looking at the growing fleet. We're not just building ships anymore. Reed smiled. We're building hope. For everyone. Above them, Earth shone peacefully in the black sky, its future now brighter than ever. In just 1 week, humanity had gone from fighting for survival to taking its place among the stars. And this was only the beginning. The Prometheus, humanity's first star destroyer, stood proudly in its dock nearby, a symbol of what humans could achieve when pushed to their limits. Its hull still bore the scars of battle, but like humanity itself, it had emerged stronger from the trial by fire.